Well, we need to pick a book for our discussion next week. Any suggestions?
How about Cycle of Misfortune by Elsie Damon? What?
Barbara, that's a novel about a plot to take over the United Nations. It's an international cabal, for pity's sakes.
It got great reviews.
From conspiracy buffs. Barbara never met a conspiracy she didn't like.
Or didn't believe.
That's all right. Go ahead and tease.
Before we run out of time, Barbara has something she would like to say.
I just want to thank you all for the lovely flowers and the sympathy cards you sent when my brother recently passed away. They were great comfort.
So, unless there are any objections, our next book will be Cycle of Misfortune. It's very well written. Good night.
Good night.
What is that?
Oh, it's okay. It's just the pipes.
Well, it sounds like they're gonna burst.
I hope not.
So sweet of you to pick the book I wanted.
Oh, not at all. Cycle of Misfortune will be a nice change of pace.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Philby, is that how you fix pipes?
Worked for Ralph Cramden.
I'm calling a plumber.
When our dad passed away, he left Avery and me the family business. I had no head at all for business and certainly no interest. You wouldn't know it to look at me, but I'm a hippie at heart. The last thing I ever wanted to do was punch a clock and keep books. This is going to be difficult. The reading of my brother's will. Thanks so much for coming. I hope we didn't keep you waiting. Hi, Matt. Oh, my. You've lost weight.
Oh, I'm fine, really. And how are you?
Well, same as you, pretending I'm fine.
Yeah. Hello, Madeline.
Hello, Samantha. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for the flowers you sent. They were beautiful.
You're welcome.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Just put the coffee on the table, Marcia.
Yes, ma'am. Here you are, Miss Barbara.
Thank you, dear. Oh, before I forget, I left my camera here at Avery's birthday. I forgot all about it, along with everything else after the accident.
Yes, Marcia found it on a patio table. It's over there on the shelf. I'll get it, Barbara.
I am so sorry that you and Tobias have to postpone your wedding.
Who told you I'm postponing my wedding?
I'm sorry. I just assumed under the circumstances.
I'm not canceling my plans. Avery just died and Fawn's getting married. Ooh, what will people think?
Fawn, please. Can we discuss this later?
No, there's nothing to discuss. Tobias and I are getting married as planned. If you don't like it, don't come.
I'm sorry. I can't listen to this.
Madeline, please, sit down. We are here to read Avery's will. And let's get down to business, shall we? Look, the two of you can really hash it out once I'm gone back in my office. Now, if I may have everyone's attention. I, Avery Summers, being in full possession of my faculties, do attest that this is my last will and testament. First, I name Tobias Taylor, grandson of my father's best friend, to the board of directors of my company, Summercorp, with compensation, stock options, and authority equal to the other directors in recognition of his hard work, my faith in his future, and my belief that he will continue to make my daughter happy. To my dear sister Barbara, I leave my collection of Roman coins, knowing we share a love of ancient history.
I will cherish this. Thank you.
And finally, to my beloved wife, Madeline, and my dear daughter, Fawn, I leave my estate, including Summercorp entire, its divisions and subsidiaries, share and share alike. And that's it.
Great. Let's go to the club.
Wait a minute. This is impossible. I own half of Summer Corp. I'm sorry, my dear, but you and Madeline can only inherit Avery's half. Not Summer Corp entire, its divisions and subsidiaries.
Barbara, I think you might be a little bit confused.
Well, I own half of Summer Corp, period. What's confusing about that?
All right. Let me explain. You owned half of Summers and Family.
Which became Summer Corp.
No. Summers and Family and Summer Corp are two separate entities. Summers and Family no longer exists. It was disincorporated. You remember?
Of course I remember.
I don't think she remembers.
Don't talk as though I'm not here. What is it you think I don't remember?
All right. When Summers and Family went out of business, you signed over your shares of the company to Avery for a small settlement.
I did no such thing.
Please, Barbara, you did. I drew up the papers myself. I'm sorry, everyone. I never imagined.
I didn't sign anything. What are you trying to pull?
Maybe if you show Barbara the document, she'll remember signing it.
I want to see it right now.
Well, I don't have it with me right now. Look, Barbara, come over to my office tomorrow. I'll show you anything you want.
Avery would never ask me to sign such a document. Even if I wanted to, he wouldn't allow me to give up my inheritance. And he certainly wouldn't cheat me out of it.
No one's cheating you, Barbara.
Okay, why don't we go, and tomorrow morning I will drive you to Mr. Benson's office, okay?
Something happened on Avery's birthday. Something that upset him.
Barbara, that's ridiculous. Avery had a wonderful day.
Then why did he leave his guests?
He didn't leave his guests.
Yes, he did. Before he opened his presents, I wanted to take his picture with Madeline and Fawn. So he went off to find them, but he couldn't find them. So I took Avery's picture alone, several pictures, in fact, one after another. And Avery got this look on his face.
A look?
Yes, and the next thing I knew, he was in his Bentley and leaving.
Barbara, Avery drove his Bentley every year on his birthday. It was his favorite ritual.
But never until after his guests were gone. He didn't even open their presents.
So Dad was rude, so what?
Your father was the soul of manners. He would never. Oh my God.
What is it?
Avery's accident. It wasn't an accident.
She's crazy.
You think I'm crazy?
Miss Kinsey, could you see to it that Barbara gets home safely? The grief has her a little unhinged.
Unhinged? Unhinged? You think I'm unhinged?
Barbara, let's get you out of here.
Wait, you wait until I develop these pictures. We will see who's unhinged. We'll see everything that happened that day. I will prove that Avery was upset. I will prove that his death was not an accident. They think they can pull the wool over my eyes, but they are wrong. I knew my brother too well.
But Barbara, I don't understand why you don't think his crash was an accident.
Avery, ever since he was a boy, he used to go around those hills in everything, from his first sports car to his precious Bentley. He could take those turns blindfolded.
Even good drivers have accidents.
Don't you believe me?
What do you expect to find on that film?
Something incriminating. I know something happened that upset Avery at the very moment I was taking his picture. Maybe I caught it on film. Are you free for lunch? I need to talk to you about something.
Pipe trouble.
Yeah, there's probably an obstruction.
You need a bigger wrench. And a tarp on the floor.
My name is Philby.
Charlie Dugan.
The plumber said we have to re-plumb the whole place.
You can patch this mess. Get you another year or two before you need to repipe.
It's good to hear. As you can tell, I don't know what I'm doing.
I wouldn't take you for a professional, but you'll catch on.
I've never seen you here in the bookstore before.
Oh, I'm a big mystery fan. You're going to be seeing plenty of me.
Sounds like you just moved to town.
Well, I didn't move, just visiting for a couple of weeks.
Let's go inside.
Where were you? This antsy young guy is my nephew, Billy. I was taking a walk, and I found this delightful bookstore.
Oh, it's great, Uncle Charlie. Aren't you forgetting something?
Like what?
Your dentist appointment right now?
Damn, I forgot. The thing about teeth is you have to maintain. I'm getting mine cleaned. I'll come back. In the meantime, get duct tape. Sooner or later with pipes, you always need duct tape.
Most people don't know this, but Avery actually introduced Tobias to Fawn.
Avery knew Tobias before Fawn met him?
Oh, yes. You see, my father and Tobias's grandfather were best friends, and they served in World War II together. Did you know that Tobias introduced Avery to Madeline?
Avery introduced Fawn to her future husband, and Tobias introduced Avery to his second wife, Madeline?
Yes.
That's destiny or a novel by Agatha Christie.
Barbara, why don't you come in for a cup of tea?
You have your own darkroom. Will you develop this film for me? If I take it to the drugstore, it may disappear.
Barbara, just come in and take a rest, okay?
Don't worry. Please, don't worry about me. I'm not overwrought. Just take this film and develop it for me.
I'd be happy to.
And call me so that I can come over and look at them with you.
I will.
Okay.
You drive carefully.
Oh, thank you. You're a good friend. I think you're the only person I can trust right now.
Load her up, fellas.
I should have known you'd show up here. What do you spend all day listening to a police scanner?
Connor's Barbara and I were friends. I just had lunch with her today.
Okay, so you knew her.
What happened?
She was shot. Looks like a burglary that turned into a homicide.
Yeah, no. Body position.
Keys are still in the door. That means she was shot from inside the house.
I know that. Did she say anything about threats?
No, and she would have. How did the killer get inside the house?
Windows wide open back in the laundry room. You know, with all the show and tell I do in this community, you people still leave your windows unlocked.
You said it was a robbery. Why do you think that?
The house was tossed. One of my men found an empty jewelry box in the bushes.
That box wasn't for jewelry. It was her brother's Roman coin collection. He left it to Barbara in his will.
Expensive coins.
Very. Museum quality, some of them priceless.
He breaks in looking for the silverware, walks off with the mint. Well, there you have it. If Miss Summers has no enemies, then this is just a random robbery turned homicide.
Did you find her camera?
No, no camera.
I wonder, what if the burglar was really after the camera? They'd be expecting to find the film inside.
What film?
Barbara took pictures at her brother's birthday party right before he died. She was certain someone killed him.
Avery Summers. Murdered. No way.
Barbara thought she'd find the evidence in the pictures she took.
I investigated Avery Summers' accident. He drank too much champagne at his party, his reflexes are shot, and he drives his Bentley right off the road.
Maybe it looked like an accident. Was there an autopsy?
For an accident? Of course not. Look, Miss Kinsey, if you know more about this, I suggest you tell me.
Avery's will cut Barbara out of her share of the family business. But she knew her brother would never do that, so she thought something was wrong.
Well, no wonder she's running around screaming foul play. She gets cut out of the money. She takes a hike down conspiracy lane. I'd be mad, too.
Okay, she was angry, but that's not why she was suspicious.
There is no evidence here that suggests this is anything other than a random burglary gone bad.
But what if Barbara was right? What if this wasn't just a robbery? What if the person who killed Barbara and took her camera wanted it to look like a robbery?
I got work to do.
Chief Connors, you are not listening to me.
No, I'm not. Now, if I find any evidence that this wasn't a burglary, you'll be the first to know. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Appreciate your help, all you guys.
You all right?
Philby, just because Barbara was paranoid doesn't mean that someone wasn't out to get her.
What about that document? The lawyer said that Barbara signed, turning her half of Summer Corp over to Avery.
Robert Benson said he'd show it to Barbara tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but now that she's dead, he doesn't have to produce it.
If it exists.
But if it does, it's part of Summer Corp's records.
Summer Corp is privately held by the family. Its documents aren't public record.
Who said the records have to be public?
You can hack into their records?
That would be against the law. I know a guy who knows a guy.
What guy? Where?
You don't want to know.
If you need me, I'll be in the dark room. I'm gonna develop Barbara's pictures, and I just need to think. Barbara took these pictures the day her brother died.
Barbara Summers took these? How did you get them?
She gave me the film to develop. She was convinced that Avery was murdered, and she expected to find the evidence in the pictures she took.
Do you think she was right?
I think it's entirely possible.
Even though she was your friend?
Cassie, if she wasn't my friend, I wouldn't be involved. But if I thought she was way off base, I would have told her.
Isn't it true that Miss Summers believed the government was hiding the bodies of space aliens in Area 51?
Okay, so Barbara had some unusual notions, but she was very observant.
Most paranoids are good observers, but who knows if what they're observing is real or imagined?
Barbara didn't imagine that her brother was upset the day he died. She was there, she saw him. Isn't that worth investigating?
Maybe Avery Summers didn't like the number of candles on his cake. His wife was young. Maybe he was feeling pressured.
And maybe this will convince you. Avery's will cut Barbara out of her half of the company.
You're kidding.
Their lawyer, Robert Benson, said that Barbara signed a document handing over her share, and Barbara insisted that she didn't.
I'll take a look at them. But you know that Chief Connors can't reopen an investigation without concrete evidence. Neither can I.
I know.
Yeah. Can you tell Chief Connors I need to see him right away? Good, thanks. The medical examiner's office called. Barbara was shot with a German World War II Luger.
I don't get your point.
What kind of burglar uses a World War II German Luger?
I admit, it's an odd weapon of choice, but so what? Most burglars aren't armed anyway. And those that are carry around whatever they can get their hands on. A gun, a knife. Look, ladies, this has been a lot of fun. But I've got bad guys to catch. Miss Summers was gunned down by a burglar. That's the evidence, ladies. Trust me.
Just overwhelmed. First Avery, now Barbara.
I can't imagine what you're going through.
You know, I wake up at night and I reach for Avery and he's not there. I just miss him so much. Of course you do. And Barbara. I thought the world of Barbara. She was the only Summers who actually welcomed me into the family.
Fawn didn't?
Well, I can understand how Fawn felt. You know, having a stepmother your own age is difficult.
Try embarrassing, humiliating, and ridiculous.
Sweetheart, please. Don't start this. Madeline's upset.
Oh, and I'm not? I only had one father, and now he's gone. But Madeline, of course, she can just get married again. I'm sure it won't take you long to find another rich, older husband. You hooked my father in no time flat. Just walk past any nursing home and wiggle your hips.
That's over the line. Excuse me, Samantha.
You think I'm cruel, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I miss my dad. My father's death makes me angry.
Even though it was an accident? It was an accident, wasn't it? Something about it bother you?
They said he was drinking.
Champagne on his birthday, that's normal, isn't it?
Not for Daddy. He'd recently developed diabetes. He didn't want anyone to know.
Not even his wife?
Especially not her. He wanted to be young and vital for Madeline, as if she didn't know how old he was, or how rich.
Sounds like you think your father's marriage to Madeline was a mistake.
Madeline came from a Florida swamp with only the clothes on her back. Why would I think she would marry him for his money? I'm smart enough to fall in love with a man who's nicer than I am. He feels sorry for everyone.
Tobias, congratulations on your promotion to CEO of Summer Corp.
Daddy was very fond of Tobias.
It is an honor and a responsibility.
How long did you work for Avery?
Well, for the past year and a half, I've been director of international sales, but families have always been close.
Well, Barbara said your grandfathers were friends.
Childhood buddies.
So did your grandfather help start Summer Corp?
He was a founding partner in what became Summers and Family. He and Fawn's grandfather started the business in my grandfather's basement.
So why wasn't it called Summers and Taylor?
Well, Grandpop was a dreamer. You know, he gave Fawn's grandfather the idea, the seed money, and his basement, but, well, then he got bored and he took off to Australia.
To do what?
Find adventure. I guess he never could recapture the rush that he got in combat from the war. So he became a real Crocodile Dundee, lived off the land for a while. And then he met a sweet little lady from Alice Springs. That was my grandmother. He married her, and she gave birth to my dad. And then my grandfather eventually moved the family back to the States and settled them in, and he died before I was born, so I really never had a chance to meet the man.
That's too bad. He sounds like an interesting character.
Grandma says I take after him. It's quite a compliment.
And then when my dad met Tobias, he could see right away how smart he was and offered to put him through college.
That was a magnificent gesture.
Well, it sounds like it was a good decision for both of you. You got an education and he got a trusted and qualified CEO.
And son-in-law.
Let's not forget that. I have an appointment. I have to go.
Well, let me see you out.
Bye, Samantha.
Madeline likes you. She told me. She could use a friend, Samantha. Please, visit often.
I will. See ya.
Charlie was right. All kinds of nasty goo came out of those pipes. It's a good thing I laid down those tarps.
I thought we called a plumber.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. He came, he estimated, he went.
How much?
More than we thought. But that included parts and labor.
It could include solid gold faucets, and we still couldn't afford it. Keep on patching, Philby.
Yeah. Did you find anything in those photos?
Not yet, but I'm not giving up. I'm not a big fan of conspiracy theories, but all I know is that Avery's death was not an accident. He had alcohol in his blood. How did it get there? According to Fawn, he had diabetes. He didn't drink anymore.
It could have been injected. How extensive was the autopsy?
No autopsy. Just the normal blood alcohol check mandatory in all vehicular deaths. I know what you're thinking. If Avery's body was exhumed, the police might find evidence of murder.
Or disprove it, once and for all.
Exhuming Avery would require the family's consent, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but the authorities can't take action without probable cause. A boatload of probable cause.
A suspicion that Avery was injected after the accident isn't enough. Even though it makes sense, I just know that the coroner would find an injection site.
He's not going to find anything unless you can push him with evidence. You stay there. I'm going to go turn on the water. You can thank me later. Applause would be nice.
Philby?
Samantha Kinsey, Mr. Benson?
Miss Kinsey!
Mr. Benson, I am so sorry I didn't make an appointment.
It's all right, no problem. Please, come in. I am so sorry to have heard about Barbara. I know the two of you were friends. I, of course, knew her forever.
Barbara had questions no one answered, and as her friend, I feel an obligation to find some answers.
Well, please, sit down. I'm happy to answer any questions I can.
Oh, thank you. May I see the document Barbara didn't remember signing?
Of course not. That document is privileged.
But I was going to bring her to your office to see it. She would have shown it to me anyway, so why can't I see it?
Because, Ms. Kinsey, if I show a client document to a second party without that client's consent, I get disbarred. And that would make me unhappy.
So, with Barbara dead, no one has the right to see the alleged document.
Oh, there's nothing alleged about it.
Barbara thought so.
Well, Barbara was unstable. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true.
Mr. Benson, I must disagree with you.
Quite frankly, Miss Kinsey, I think Avery may have felt less close to Barbara than Barbara felt to him. Maybe something happened between the two of them. Maybe they became estranged.
Well, take a look at this picture. Does Avery look estranged from Barbara?
That can be an old picture.
How about this one? It was taken at Avery's birthday party. Barbara gave me the roll of film she took at Avery's birthday. She asked me to develop the pictures.
And did you find evidence of Barbara's conspiracy theories?
No. But they do not look estranged.
I never, ever breach a client's confidence. Avery loved Barbara very much, but he was concerned about her mental capacity. He asked her to sign over her half of Summer Corp in order to protect her from New Age swindlers and con artists who may try to take advantage of her. Then he set up a trust fund for her, a substantial trust fund, so that no matter what happened, no matter how much she may deteriorate, she would never lack for a thing.
You make it sound like Barbara was insane.
She believed in UFOs.
Who was the administrator of Barbara's trust fund?
I was the attorney to both Avery and Barbara. I administer both estates as well as the trust.
If you thought that Barbara was unstable, how could you possibly let her sign a document handing over her half to Avery? When was this trust fund set up? If it does exist, why didn't she tell me about it? Or was the alleged trust fund a secret too?
You know, I have already breached one confidence. In order to set you at peace, Miss Kinsey, I'm not about to breach another.
It's Barbara who needs to be set at peace. And most likely Avery.
I think it's time for you to leave.
Okay. Oh, one last question before I go. Did Avery own antique guns?
No. Avery hated guns. One of his favorite charities was Disarm America. Why?
I'm nosy. Bye. I need to see a copy of Avery Summers' will. Would it be filed at the courthouse?
They're not filed anywhere. The lawyer would have the original, the trustee a copy.
So what if the lawyer and the trustee are the same person?
Then there would only be one copy.
Cassie, I really need to see that will.
Sorry, no way unless Benson hands it over.
I know. Can't blame a girl for trying.
Hey, you know, I only met Barbara once. She seemed really nice.
She was. She asked me when I was going to meet a nice young man and settle down.
My mother asked me that every day.
He'd have to be a prince.
He'd have to be a king.
He'd have to be Brad Pitt. That's right.
Yep.
No, I'm gonna go run this off. Okay, I'll meet you at the park after work.
Great. See you later.
See ya.
I think I need more than 10 guys. Temporary and boxes. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
Hello, Samantha. Allow me to introduce to you Charlie Dugan. Samantha Kinsey. She owns Mystery Woman.
Ah, it's a great little shop you're having, Miss Kinsey. Snug as a bug.
Except for the plumbing.
We'll see what we can do.
I appreciate that, Mr. Dugan. Well, since I know nothing about plumbing, I will be in the dark room.
Nice lady.
Yes, she is. Samantha, you have a minute?
Yeah. Where's Mr. Dugan?
Oh, his nephew came by to take him to physical therapy for a stiff knee.
What's this?
It was there when I came out of the back room. It seems you have an admirer. Mind your own business, or your friends could be putting these on your grave. This is serious.
It's just some Lynn's idea of a practical joke.
I don't think so.
I do.
From now on, you don't go anywhere by yourself. You understand?
Philby, You know I can't live like that. But thank you for caring. Come see what I did in the dark room. On the left are the pictures Barbara took in the morning, and on the right are the ones she took in the afternoon.
Boy, that's a terrible loss.
You knew Avery?
I was talking about the car. That's a 62 Bentley. Rare. It's classic. Where's the car now?
I don't know. It's beautiful. Cassie might know something about the car. I'm meeting her at the park in 10 minutes. In the meantime, no one comes into the dark room, okay?
I'll guard it with my life.
What happened to the Bentley Avery crashed?
It was totaled. The family had it towed to a salvage yard and scrapped.
The family had it scrapped?
You don't think there was an ulterior motive behind them destroying the car, do you?
Well, if you tamper with a car and then have it mushed into the size of a toaster, then any evidence of tampering is obviously destroyed.
Okay, this is a good point. Let's go get some ice cream.
After that workout?
Yeah, I work out so I can eat ice cream.
Wise woman. Look at that.
What?
That truck. What's that puddle under it?
Looks like the fuel line's leaking. The owner's gonna need a tow.
We have to figure out when the car was last repaired.
Okay, I have Summer's registration information. It's a 1962 Bentley.
Anything on that model year? Any mechanical problems?
Do I look like a mechanic to you? All I got here are the DMV records.
Sorry. Any information on where or when the car was last inspected?
It was last inspected 3 months ago, and it passed, but I don't know where.
Doesn't list inspection sites.
You would think, but unfortunately, no.
Most people have their cars inspected at the same place they have them repaired, right?
I guess.
So all we have to do is figure out where Avery normally took his car to be repaired.
Right.
One way to find out, you got a phone book? Mechanics. Madison Luxury Repairs specializes in vintage and luxury cars.
Hey, that's my phone book.
Sorry, I hate to rip and run, but I gotta get back to the bookstore. Thanks, Cassie. Philby!
Emergency?
Nah. They'd call Chief Connors, and then I'd get a lecture about leaving the door open. Did you leave the door open?
I locked it when I went out.
Where'd you go?
I went to get something to eat. My guts told me I should have followed you.
Philby, I distinctly told you not to.
I know. I should have ignored you and followed my gut. If I was there, perhaps this wouldn't have happened.
You're only doing what I asked.
Your uncle asked me to watch over you. This will not happen again.
I wish I'd gotten a look at him.
It happened too fast.
Yeah, he's gone. Nothing seems to be missing. Wait a minute. Philby. Barbara's pictures are gone. Pictures are gone, negatives are gone.
Not quite.
What is this?
I knew the pictures were important, so I scanned the negatives and put them on disk.
Philby, you're the best, thank you. I'm gonna download these so I can blow them up. Philby!
What?
Look at this picture of Avery with his old Bentley. Okay, see that shadow area right there? Mm-hmm. Now look at this blow up. See, it's kind of shiny. I was at the park yesterday and I saw this truck and it was leaking something like oil. And it made me think of this picture. Take a look at that.
From the position of the puddle under the car, the puddle would be brake fluid. Yes. This is good.
That's just the valve, you know. Do a ring and valve job on it.
Mr. Madison, I've heard great things about your work. You've been described as the maestro of fine automobiles.
Well, thank you. It's all about the craftsmanship for me. Plus, I am the only vintage car expert in town.
You serviced Avery Summers' Bentley.
Let's go inside and talk about this. Now, Avery had a magnificent automobile, and he was a nice man, so you want to tell me what this is about?
This is a blow-up of Avery's car right before the crash. See the leak?
Now, you just wait a minute. If the Summers family thinks I'm responsible for Avery's crash...
Nobody's suing.
And you're not a lawyer.
No, I'm just a friend who's concerned that Avery's car was in good condition.
Avery's car was in pristine condition. Like 1939, and it just rolled out of the plant.
And you serviced it regularly, of course.
Avery only drove this car one day out of the year, and that was on his birthday, and I would service it right the day before.
You'd testify to that?
Yeah, and so will my mechanics.
Excellent. You see that puddle? Someone cut Avery's brake line. You have got to get Chief Connors to reopen the investigation.
Samantha, I understand how you feel, but I have to put myself in Chief Connors' shoes. If he reopens an investigation over family objections, there could be repercussions.
The family could sue the department.
And me. Objectively, all we have here is a very old car with a leak.
It is not just an old car. It was Avery's favorite toy. He drove it once a year.
Once a year? So what? It's still a very old car.
Someone broke into the bookstore last night.
Broke in? You mean a robbery?
Not for money. He only took Barbara's pictures and negatives. He was there when I got back. I walked in on him.
Did you report this?
No. I know that my robbery had something to do with Avery's accident and Barbara's murder.
Do you have evidence to connect the dots?
He took the pictures. That's all he was interested in.
So if you hadn't walked in on him when you did, he might have?
Whose side are you on?
Yours. But I have to ask you the questions the police would ask. You walked in on him. Can you identify him?
No, he ran out.
So you didn't see anyone or anything?
He ran out.
You know what? Is there anything I can do, anything I could say to make you stop?
Cassie, if someone killed me, wouldn't you want to know who did it?
Call me back. Yeah, I got it right here.
Hey, wait! Wait! You can't go in there! Sir, she blew right past me.
I'll call you back. Thank you, Emily. What is your problem, Miss Kinsey?
My problem is Barbara's pictures and negatives were stolen from my darkroom.
Well, that's too bad. Those pictures belonged to Barbara's estate. I was going to ask you to return them.
You returned them, Mr. Benson. You are the only one who knew Barbara gave me that film, so you must have the pictures.
Oh, please, Miss Kinsey.
You are the only member of the Summers group who knew about the pictures. Outside of you and the rest of the family, I doubt anyone else would care.
The Summers group, as you call it, all know that you have the pictures. I told them last night at a meeting of the Summer Court Board of Directors.
You're on the board of directors?
Yes, along with Fawn, Tobias, and Madeline.
I know the company's family-owned, but you're an employee. Why are you on the board of directors?
I am hardly an employee, Ms. Kinsey. Summer Corp is my sole client. I am their sole legal advisor. They don't make a move without my advice.
So if something happens to the corporation, you lose everything.
Nothing is going to happen to the corporation.
So long as you do what the family asks and cover up what they do. How far are you willing to go, Mr. Benson?
Get out!
Sylvie, it's me. I'm just leaving Robert's office. No, I wouldn't say that our little conversation ended very well. In fact, I kind of got thrown out. Not sure what I'm doing next. Anyway, I'm headed back to the bookstore. Guess I'll figure it out in the car. Okay, see ya.
Well, this looks like progress.
Samantha! Hello. That's not a fix. Patch. You still need new pipes as soon as you can.
By the time I can afford new plumbing, I'll be as old as the pipes.
Someplace I can wash up before I go. I'm buying a new suit. Don't tell Billy. He's always moaning about how I'm spending the family fortune. That's what it's for. Live a little, I always say.
Up the stairs in the back.
I need your help.
What's up?
We'll be breaking the law.
Hey, these are for Mr. Benson's assistant. Tomorrow's her birthday. He wants them on her desk before she comes in.
Heck of a time to be delivering flowers, ain't it?
Hey, tell me about it. I'm not even getting overtime.
A birthday surprise?
It's cheaper than giving her a raise.
Yeah, I'd like to help you, but nobody's allowed upstairs after midnight, except the cleaning crew. There's a lot of lawyers in the building, don't you know?
Just take a minute.
Get caught, it's my job.
Who's gonna know?
I can't, I'm sorry.
That guard actually let me come up. He ought to be fired.
I found Avery's file.
What's in it?
I don't know. I photographed it. We'll find out later. Go keep the guard busy. I will be down in 1 minute. Philby, the flowers. Come in.
Well?
So Avery had 3 separate wills. The first will is dated a month before he married Fawn's mother. It leaves all his worldly possessions to his new bride. The worldly possessions aren't itemized.
Well, a young man's will is pretty simple.
And the second one was drafted after Fawn's mother died. It leaves everything to Fawn.
Don't mention the Barbara.
No. And then the third will was the one that Robert read. It mentions the Roman coin collection. I don't understand. Unless... that's it.
What?
Avery didn't need to leave Barbara her share of the company. She already owned it free and clear.
But Robert said Barbara signed her half over.
But wouldn't produce the document. Robert also said that Avery set up a trust fund for Barbara, but that document would have been in the same file. No document. No trust. Robert lied about everything. Wouldn't you say that Robert Benson is guilty of fraud?
Absolutely. But do you think he murdered Avery?
That's the hard part. Why would he kill Avery? I mean, he wasn't a beneficiary to the will, and he wasn't a major shareholder in Summer Corp. Unless someone in the family paid him to do it. Hey, Cassie.
Hey, Sam, what's up?
I have some legal questions regarding access to bank records.
Okay.
So, say you wanted to access someone's bank records. How would you do that?
Legally?
Sure. So, say you wanted to access someone's bank records, but you didn't want them to know about it.
Well, you can pull records confidentially if there's an ongoing criminal investigation. Otherwise, the bank is required to contact the account holder.
There's no other way?
Not without a subpoena. What is this about?
I want to see if there was a cash exchange between the Summers account and Robert Benson's.
Okay, what does that prove?
That Robert Benson was hired to kill Avery.
How did you come up with this?
I'm finding that Robert has lied about absolutely everything. We know he's guilty of fraud, the rest is just a hunch.
Well, unfortunately, a hunch will not get us a subpoena. And what's this about fraud?
Apparently there was never a trust fund set up for Barbara.
Can you prove that?
Not yet, but I will.
How?
Get Robert to confess.
I'll be right with you.
Have you seen Uncle Charlie?
No, he hasn't been in. What's wrong?
I lost something. Uncle Charlie might have it.
This item you lost. Is it important?
Crucial.
Perhaps you should call the family and tell them what you lost and ask them for help.
They'd kill me.
Nonsense. In times of trouble, your family sticks together. Isn't it time you admit you need help with Uncle Charlie?
I don't. I can handle it. I can.
Okay. It's almost lunchtime. There's a no, better yet. Bell's B&B. Today's Wednesday. Chicken pot pie. Very popular.
Good idea. Uncle Charlie likes home cooking. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye. According to Benson's assistant, he will be out of the office all morning. Something about a meeting with the Summers family.
So that means you have to wait. before you can confront Robert about Barbara's non-existent trust.
Maybe.
Oh, how dare you, Madeline? You can't cancel my wedding.
Well, I can and I did.
It's my wedding, and I don't care what people think.
You have to care, darling. You're Summers.
I don't need to be told who I am, thank you very much. Especially not by a man whose grandfather went bankrupt.
Fawn?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but she's making me crazy.
Please understand. I'm just afraid that people will think that you didn't love your father.
Miss Kinsey, what are you doing here?
I came to visit Madeline.
Well, you have a nerve, don't you? Who let you in?
I knocked. I guess you guys didn't hear me.
Of course not. We're having a scream fest.
Fawn, please. It's enough.
My beautiful but cheap stepmother is afraid people will talk if I don't cancel my wedding. The truth is, she just doesn't want to spend the money.
This isn't about money, Fawn. It's about taste and decency. You want this crass, vulgar circus in your father's house where we're still in mourning. And you want me to think that you loved your father.
The truth is, I loved him a lot less after he married you. You made him look like a smitten old fool.
You know what? There's no use talking to you, Fawn. Whatever I say, you do the exact opposite. I loved your father.
Oh. And the Academy Award for Best Performance by a Gold Digger goes to... Now what can we do for you, Samantha?
Nothing unless you want to talk about your inheritance.
My inheritance is none of your beeswax.
That's right, but there's something I need to know.
Time to go, Miss Kinsey.
Did you know that your father set up a trust fund for your Aunt Barbara?
Trust fund? No, he never mentioned it to me. But that would be just like Daddy, wouldn't it, Tobias? To take care of his sister and not tell anyone else in the family about it.
So you never saw a copy of the trust papers?
No, I said I didn't know about it.
Well, Robert, you ought to show them to her. She's family. She's entitled.
That's enough from you.
You should ask your lawyer to show you a copy of the document Barbara supposedly signed handing over her half of the company.
I'm losing my patience, Miss Kinsey.
But you haven't seen that document either, have you?
All right, time to go.
It's because it doesn't exist. You're part of the fraud.
Do I have to call the police?
Don't touch me.
I'm warning you, Samantha. Stay out of this.
How'd it go?
Well, Robert Benson is still lying, Fawn is still fighting with Madeline, and Tobias is trying to placate them both.
So there's nothing new.
Ah, but there is. One of the Summers family pictures is missing from the bookcase.
Which picture is it?
I don't know, but I'm gonna find out.
Well, maybe somebody dusted and didn't put it back.
Nothing else was moved. No, it's in here somewhere. There it is. Look at the expression on Avery's face.
He's definitely unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he wants to be somewhere else and he can, so he's angry about it. Barbara said she took this picture right before Avery left in his Bentley.
So Barbara was right.
Yeah. Something upset him.
Which picture's missing?
This one.
It's too small. Can't tell what it is.
I'll blow it up.
Good.
That woman. I think she's spent far too much time with Barbara. She's got the old gal's conspiracy bug. Where are Fawn and Tobias?
They went inside.
Not much phases that girl, does it?
Well, her mean streak protects her. But life has a way of getting even with people like Fawn.
This one's called Burnt Toast. Is it any good?
Oh, it's an excellent mystery. It's about a timid detective who overcomes his fears to track down the murderer. It's about never giving up.
Well, I wouldn't be where I am today without persistence. I'll take it.
Good.
Oh, I almost forgot. Billy was in. He lost something. He thought you might have it.
Billy left his keys in the bathroom. I picked them up. About time the boy learns a lesson. He leaves his stuff all over the place.
Yeah, well, he was really agitated.
Billy was born agitated. I'll go look for him. Hey. How do you like my suit?
Very dapper. You're tanned. You're rested. You're ready to roll.
Best vacation I've had in years.
Sylvie, come in here.
So Avery's on the left, and I'm not sure who the man is on the right.
That sign on the road behind them. It looks like German, but I can't be sure.
Can you make out what the second man is holding there?
Not quite. Can you blow up only the hand and the sign?
Why are you so interested in the sign?
Well, if we knew where they were, I could track down the company. And if I knew the company, I might be able to ID the second man.
You can do that?
I have a source. Don't ask.
Come in.
I finally found the right guy who knew the right guy.
You mean the computer hacker?
Shh. Hacking is against the law. Read the summary.
Summer Corp incorporated in July, blah, blah, blah.
No, skip to the end.
Oh. The incorporation papers do not include any document signed by Barbara Summers turning over anything to anyone. In fact, the incorporation specifically states that the same terms apply to Summer Corp as applied to its predecessor, Summers and Family. Barbara wasn't crazy. She never signed anything.
Did you have any doubt?
No. Well, when she invited me to go on a tour of the crop circles, I kind of wondered, wouldn't you?
Would you be surprised to know that our government is studying them? They have a unique magnetic field.
You're teasing me, aren't you?
That information is classified.
Why don't you go for a run in the park?
Sure you're all right?
Oh, I'm getting used to being a target.
You could have been killed.
He didn't try to kill me. The car swerved at the last minute. If he had wanted to kill me, he would have.
Here it is. It's the make, the model, the color of the car. First three characters in the license plate. Local registration. These are the three names that came up. Recognize one of them?
No.
Don't worry. I'll keep trying.
Thank you.
Mr. Benson, I told her she could not come in.
I have had it with you. Call security.
Barbara never signed over her share of Summer Corp.
Miss Kinsey, you know better than that.
There is no such document in the Summer Corp file.
I assure you there is.
I've seen it. There isn't.
You've seen the file? Those papers are privileged. You're bluffing, Miss Kinsey. No one outside of this office has seen that file. Unless you're admitting to breaking and entering.
If I sue Summer Corp, you'll have to produce the file.
On what grounds would you sue Summer Corp?
The wrongful death of Barbara Summers.
You're insane.
The court will decide what Barbara signed.
Well, go ahead and sue, Ms. Kinsey.
What do corporate lawyers go for these days? 5 million? 10? What did they pay you to betray Barbara?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She was your client. You had an obligation to her, but that wasn't important to you, was it? They made you a board member. They paid you a fortune to lie. And given Barbara's peculiar interests, you knew that you could convince people that she was so unstable she would never remember signing that document. It was easy for you, wasn't it?
Emily, where's security?
You have an offshore bank account, don't you? I'm leaving. So, did you charge extra to murder Barbara, or did you just throw that in?
Why don't you just go before he comes out and fires me?
You didn't call security?
If I did everything he told me to, I would spend my whole day looking like a fool. It's bad enough I spend half the day on the telephone talking to Mrs. Summers' creditors, telling them that the bills are too high and she won't pay them.
Madeline Summers is having money problems?
No, she's richer than one of those sheiks. She just can't part with a penny. I am looking for another job as soon as Robert goes on vacation and this wedding is over.
What wedding?
You didn't know? Fawn is marrying that nice Tobias Taylor later this afternoon.
I wonder why they're getting married so fast.
Because Madeline told Fawn she couldn't. I can't wait to get out of here. I am going to LA, where I am going to have fun. My Saturn is packed, and as soon as he's gone, I am out of here.
You drive a Saturn?
Yeah, I just got it. It's got tinted windows, it's black. I love it.
You know, I have seen a lot of them on the road. Do you ever have to run errands for Mr. Benson?
Every miserable day. He makes me walk 6 blocks to do his banking, then it's a run to the post office, run to the dry cleaners. The man needs a wife.
So when you run the errands, do you take your car keys?
No, why would I? I keep them right here.
Excuse me for a moment.
Sure.
You didn't scare me, Robert. You tried, but you couldn't. I don't scare.
Come in. Hey, Sam, what's up?
You have to exhume Avery's body. I know he was murdered.
I'm due in court in 20 minutes. What do you got?
Evidence. When I went to the Summers house with Barbara, this picture was on the bookshelf. When I went back alone, it was gone.
Okay, what is that?
This is Avery's father and his friend in World War II.
And?
You see the second man? You see the gun in his hand?
That's an old German Luger. So?
Barbara was killed with a Luger.
I understand how you feel about Barbara, Sam, but that isn't a gun. That's a picture of a gun taken 60 years ago in another country. I need the actual gun, and then I can call Chief Connors.
There's more. I have photographs of Avery's personal file. 3 wills, no trust papers for Barbara.
How did you get this file?
The office of Robert Benson, Barbara's attorney.
Robert Benson just handed this over to you.
Not exactly.
How did you get these, Samantha?
Don't ask.
Okay, when Robert Benson files a complaint against you, I will not be able to help you.
Robert Benson will not file a complaint. He's a crook. He doesn't want what I know to become public.
Such as?
He claims that Barbara signed over her share of the company to Avery when Summer Corp Incorporated, but that's a lie. There is no such document.
Summer Corp is privately held. Their records aren't public. There's no way that you could possibly know this.
I do, for a fact.
I'm not hearing this. I have no knowledge that my friend is breaking the law.
Cassie, Barbara was murdered, and so was her brother. Help me prove it. Exhume Avery's body.
I need a smoking gun, Samantha.
Robert actually thought he could scare me away as though I'd forget all about Barbara.
But you never reported the incident. I thought if you could prove he tried to run you down.
I don't have to. I know he was driving that car, and Robert knows I know. He won't try it again. Cassie says she needs more evidence to reopen the investigation. Help me find it?
Lead on. What are we looking for?
A smoking gun.
Don't worry, Samantha. We'll find something.
No, we are running out of time. Fawn and Tobias are getting married this afternoon, and then they're leaving immediately on their honeymoon.
Do you know where the happy couple are honeymooning?
Emily didn't say. Emily is Robert Benson's assistant. She told me about the wedding and about the Saturn.
Would you know what airlines they're using?
No. Why?
Remember the novel by Dryden Fuller, Exploring for Murder? The archaeologist killer. He moves up the date of his Egyptian dig, so he'd be out of town when his hired assassin kills his wife. Sometimes the motive behind an abrupt change in plan is the killer's need for an alibi. And what better alibi than honeymooning out of the country? Dusseldorf. 31 kilometers.
You can read that?
Yeah, I can fill in the blanks. You keep looking. I gotta do some research on honeymoon reservations and World War II.
The man in the photograph of Avery's father is Joshua Taylor.
Tobias's grandfather. And the co-founder of the business that became Summer Corp.
Well, if he co-founded the company, how come Tobias is not as rich as Fawn?
The story goes that Tobias's grandfather left the business. Apparently he was some kind of adventurer.
And Fawn's grandfather felt no obligation to his partner's family?
An honest man would have split the profits between his family and Tobias's family. I guess Fawn's grandfather wasn't that honest.
And Tobias was happy to work for Avery and was grateful that he put him through college.
If I were Tobias, I would feel like I'd been swindled. I would feel like I had been forced to accept charity as opposed to having what was rightfully mine.
I would have been mad as hell.
Avery was a nice man, so maybe deep in his heart he felt like Tobias had been swindled. So we put him through college and he gave him a job.
It could be.
Now it's my turn to dazzle you.
There's Avery in the garden. Cake is cut. What's he looking at?
What do you see?
Fruit trees, bushes, shrubs.
And now?
I don't believe it.
Hello, Marcia. Lovely day for a wedding, isn't it?
Hold on. What do you think you're doing here? And who's this guy?
Oh, this is my friend Philby. We brought the perfect present.
You have to leave. Now.
How dare you? Marcia, call the police! I've had just about enough of you. I want you out of this house.
I'll walk her out quietly.
Spice, you don't want to marry her. She's bossy, she's grouchy, she will tear you apart. She'll do to you what her grandfather did to your grandfather.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Her grandfather swindled your grandfather, but you knew that. You've thought about it, you've brooded about it, and obsessed about it your whole life, haven't you, Tobias? Philby, what is that old saying about revenge?
Revenge is a dish best served cold.
60 years. That's pretty cold. You've waited a long time to avenge your grandfather. I admire your patience.
All right, let's go.
You don't want to do that.
We will go, but first I want you to look at your wedding present.
I'm not looking at anything.
Your life depends on it, Fawn.
Marcia, where are the police?
They're on their way, sir.
Barbara was photographing your father. He's looking across the garden. See the expression on his face?
He looks angry and upset, but I don't understand.
This is what he was looking at. Tobias and his true love stealing a kiss. Madeline. Tobias and Madeline planned this from the beginning. He introduced Madeline to your father, and together they murdered him. And then they forged a codicil on his will. When Barbara started asking questions, they murdered her to get her to shut up.
That's enough.
The last part of their plan was to get rid of you. Tobias, your new husband, would inherit your half of the fortune, and together they would live happily ever after.
That is not true. Don't listen to her.
But you couldn't part with a penny, could you, Madeline? If you and Tobias had not conspired to cut Barbara out of the will, none of this would have happened. Her questions, her death, nothing.
Robert, can you please tell her that she can prove none of this?
You and Madeline proved it for me. What's that saying?
Any wise, found foolish.
You lying, miserable, deceitful murderer! Oh, I trusted you! Oh, Madeline!
I got a call about a domestic disturbance.
And so much more. Come on in.
Of course, we'll have to wait for the full autopsy, but we expect to find the injection site on Avery's body where Tobias injected him with alcohol after the car crashed. Obviously, he tampered with Avery's car and then followed it until it went over the cliff.
Crash and destroying the car would have been enough. He didn't have to inject Avery with alcohol.
Ironic, isn't it? And it was all for the insurance.
I thought he was being so smart. It's his cleverness that nailed him. Is there enough evidence to convict Tobias and Madeline?
I don't think we're gonna need it. They are singing like the songbirds that they are and pointing their fingers at one another. Barbara was right about everything, Sam.
Wherever she is, she knows that.
Excuse me, Philby, are you in there? It's Billy. We met earlier. I need your help.
I'll get it.
Hello?
Have you seen Uncle Charlie? He left the motel with his suitcase.
Come in. Didn't I tell you to ask for help?
I thought I could handle it.
What's going on?
I recognized Uncle Charlie the moment I laid eyes on him. His name is Bernard Romero.
I read about that guy. Didn't he work for some gangsters in Chicago?
He's the mob accountant. He's supposed to testify against his former boss in return for the witness protection program.
How do you know that?
When I recognized him, I called a friend of mine in the bureau. Billy. Billy is charged with keeping Romero safe till he goes back east to testify.
Good job.
Did you tell the Bureau that Romero kept running away? That maybe I lost him once or twice?
No, Billy. I don't inform on agents.
You didn't tell him I lost my gun, did you?
Billy, I expect you to tell them that. And then look for another line of work.
I was never trained as a field agent. I'm a cryptographer. I got assigned to Romero because my real Uncle Charlie, the congressman, pulled some strings. He said that desk jockeys don't advance in the Bureau.
He's right, Junior. Now, you're gonna tie up these nice people with that tape. Then I'm gonna tie you up. And then I'm leaving town for a place where there's no extradition.
What makes you think we're gonna let you do that?
Because I have Billy's gun.
That's my gun.
There's no such thing as a flow adjuster. I figured Charlie wanted that box back there for a reason. Then you came in saying you lost something important. So I checked inside the flow adjuster. And guess what I found?
Tell me you're not just some bookstore guy. Tell me you're a cop.
No. I'm a bookstore guy.
Can I have my gun back now?
With all due respect, Billy, I think I'll hang on to it. You call the Bureau and ask for backup.
Test for your mugshots, Charlie? What do you think, Philby?
I think we need to hire a plumber.
Nothing beats a great whodunit.